Another runestone in place. Arlo was nervous, his paws itching for his weapons. Perhaps when the war was over, the smith could craft him new weapons for such adventures, in a matching pair. Another runestone on its pillar. Arlo would decide later whether it was wrong to raid this tomb for its secrets, after he knew them. It slotted in perfectly. The burial chamber revealed both tales were true. A treasure hoard, and guarding it was the ancient Draugr Harrot Bluefang.
fearsome warrior, now laid to rest. More importantly, Arlo had found his treasure.
king's steward, Doug, stopped them before the throne room. He started at the news of war and then rushed away, muttering about how the armor would need to be polished. Dennis, the king's brother, was also curious to see this northerner. Dennis missed war. He could plainly see by Arlo's expression that was the warden's task. He hoped they could fight together someday. Arlo was nervous to meet this king. He hoped Reggie lived up to all he'd heard from Robin. He did not have to wait long. King Reggie was glad to see his old friend Robin was safe and bid him to tell his tale. Robin told of the death of his son by the ferocious Darkwings and begged the king prepare his forces to go north. Reggie was sad at the loss of Little John, but said that was not reason enough for the South to join a northern war. The king wished them well and turned to go. Arlo stepped forward, asking what the king would do when there was no Winter's Edge to shield the South. If they sent no help now, the Darkwings would not stop at their borders. Reggie listened to Arlo tell his tale. It brought back terrible memories of a father lost and a land left in ruin. A tale not unlike this young warden's. He held out his paw in friendship. King and warden, united, could stop any foe. The southern ratfolk would not simply leave the warmth of their homes for frozen lands they had never seen. A trial by combat would prove his worth. Arlo agreed. He would do whatever it took. News had spread swiftly. As Reggie led them to the tournament grounds, the streets were already full. Villagers craned their necks to see their warrior king and this strange northern challenger. Doug was an unlikely opponent for the first round. match for Arlo's superior skill. Reggie could already see this would be a tournament that they would speak of through the ages. Dennis, veteran of the Green Wart's War and captain of the Royal Guard, would be a true challenge for Arlo. The crowd's cheers for the king's brother echoed off the arena walls. Was a veteran too, used to fighting monsters and Darkwings with ice under paw. Dennis did not compare. Now the crowd cheered for him. Arlo's final opponent was the king himself. Reggie had seen off the frog invaders almost single-pawed and was beloved by his subjects. This fight would be a tale for their times. stature and skill, there was not a whisker between them. They shook paws in truce. No rat could doubt Arlo's worth now. Reggie said to meet him by the docks. Together, they would wipe out the Dark Wings once and for all. Together, they would attack Mount Cauldron. Seeing the king's forces training for battle, Arlo felt the stirrings of something he'd long thought dead in his heart. Hope. At the dock, Arlo's little heart leapt again at the strange contraption. If it was a boat or a house, he could not tell, nor why it had a giant sleeping fuzzlebug atop it. From inside emerged King Reggie. He was not alone. King Reggie introduced Bertle. Arlo felt something comforting in the turtle's presence. Bertle was proud to take the army to Mount Cauldron in his bug ship. They would make camp at Highland View, where Arlo could find them when his forces were ready. In a flap of its wings and a cloud of gas, the fuzzlebug took King Reggie and his army north. Whatever tasks Arlo had to finish, now was the time. Once the war began, there would be no turning back. Winter's Edge, Arlo told Leaf to gather all the clans. Tomorrow, they would make their war. Arlo went to bed, for once without despair. The king and the warden's forces together would make a last stand. They would sing of it forever. He wondered what sort of tale it would be. The clan's leaders listened to the warden and king's plan. They were nervous of this flying contraption, but their fear was as nothing compared to their iron will. They would take the mountain, the Sky Scorcher, and Count Kazak himself. Raising their weapons in salute, Arlo was glad to see his friends united.
Though the feeling was bittersweet, it seemed impossible all would return. King Reggie's camp had creatures of every clan, armed and ready to fight. At its heart, Bertle waited. Arlo felt again the sense of safety at the turtle, and took it as a good omen. Bertle bellowed the order, and they felt the ground fall away. The ship lurched, as did the soldiers' stomachs. They held their nerve. King Reggie's camp had creatures of every clan, armed and ready to fight. At its heart, Bertle waited. Arlo felt again the sense of safety at the turtle, and took it as a good... They landed with a thud. Arlo loved mountains, or had loved the thought of them in the great tales of far away. But this one he did not like at all. Its icy wind chilled more than his fur. They made hasty camp, readying themselves for the fight. Keeping busy stopped the frost from biting. it began. Side by side, the king and the warden hacked a path through the baths to the walls of Cauldron Castle. The way was shut, barred and guarded. Leathery wings beat all around. If they could not open the gate, it would be all for nothing. Reggie sounded his horn. Out of the icy haze came Dennis, a barrel on his back, its fuse lit. The king had come prepared. The gate was shattered with a boom that echoed across the mountainside. It was a hammer blow to their enemies' hearts. Inside the castle, they found themselves in the chef's store. Before they could be disgusted at the contents, they had to take care of the chef. They moved in step, a flawless dance of blood and vengeance. Neither knew that their own blood united them, but perhaps, just then, they felt it. They stood together in fellowship, the clans of the Ratdom. Here they would make their final assault. Reggie raised his sword and issued the cry. Charge, army of the mighty Paw! Emerging through the mist at the base of Mount Cauldron, Arlo came upon the king, locked in combat. Count Kazet and his undead Sky Scorcher. Arlo rushed to his side. But again, he was too late. The Sky Scorcher was gone, flying to the summit with the king in its claws. The despair took hold. Just then, he heard his friends fighting on. He could not abandon them. He stood tall. He would be their captain now, and they would follow, even under the shadow of Darkwings. Together, Arlo and Erica fought the Darkwing Smith. The fiery heat at the heart of the mountain burned hotter than any forge. Rita moved, clutching to life. Arlo ordered Erica to take her to camp. He would continue alone.
whiskers twitched and crackled. There was dark magic here. Sky scorchers in cages, abominations made by some spell.
The screeches of dying bats echoed through the corridors. He knew these arrows. It was Robin, determined to rescue his king. crashing and arrows flying, they fought their way toward the summit. Would the king be alive when they got there? They entered the huge throne room. They finally set eyes on the foul, laughing figure of Count Kazak, sat on his icy throne. Erdal kneeled exhausted before him. This pained the warden more than he could explain. Kazak left his beast to fight them. He had a king to kill. Arlo and Robin fought with all they had, their hope driving them on. The beast fell, but there was no time to rest. Leaving Robin to tend to Bertle, Arlo headed to the summit to find Reggie.